I'm Jay Savarelli, and I'm doing part one of the SIR model. The SIR model is meant to represent the infection susceptibility and recovery rate of most infectious diseases, and we use this model in science to help give us a good yield in how long an infection may last, what its recovery rate may be, and possibly what mortality rates could be. In the graphs that we have presented, we have the SIR model susceptibility population and then also the infected population. We start at 100% or 99%, and we can go all the way down to 59%, seeing what the rates of recovery and susceptibility will change over time. We do notice in both these graphs that they do stop and start to decline or become constants around 50 days. But if we look at them at 99%, we can see this S curve that we actually have a knowledge of to where the infection rate will skyrocket and then instantly go down because people will become almost immune to it through herd immunity, while we also see in the S curve style graph how many people become susceptible or how many people are no longer susceptible to it over time. In these two graphs, we can see how they can linearize or become almost an exponential decreasing curve, and this just shows us a good representation on how we can actually visualize different infectious diseases in our population. We can then also look at different factors of this and how we can see the growth of it is the rapid infection, and if the herd immunity factor of it can actually be lessened, and then that would actually allow us to explain how only a certain percent of the population can be affected by herd immunity symptoms and afflictions. These different values help us determine different ways and different amounts of time that can pass before a infection and susceptibility become an actual risk in a society. We also can then take the susceptibility and we can actually use something called a contact number, which is equal to A, the infection coefficient, and B, which is equal to the recovery coefficient, which is also equal to 1 over n. We can put this into a certain logarithmic equation that gives us an output of I is equal to the natural log of S over C minus S. This value actually comes up as a way to visualize and understand how the infection modifier can change depending on the S of X and C in terms. This allows us to determine what herd immunity can be. This allows us to actually see the infection rates, and it also allows us to also represent how population, or not population, no, population susceptibility is equivalent to F of X, while the infection rate is, or the infection population is equal to the derivative of that. These two graphs correlate very heavily and allows us to see different equations that we can use in the future to help us determine different diseases and possibly even help fight COVID. We look at these graphs and we can actually see a greater visualization that helps us for the future. Thank you, and that was the end of part one.